Hello, everyone. And today, in this series, I'm going to talk about Headless CMS. I'm going to explain you what a Headless CMS is, and then we will look at why we need a Headless CMS, and then we will see how Strapi works as a solution provider for the Headless CMS requirement that we have. So, what is a Headless CMS? A headless CMS, if you try to look for a definition, you'll find that it says something like a headless CMS is a back end only CMS which works as a content repository. And yes, that's typically what it is. But additionally, what it does is it exposes that content in form of REST APIs. Some of the modern CMS, they also have the ability to support GraphQL, but the basic idea is that the headless CMS works as the content repository and then it exposes the content in form of REST APIs or GraphQL. So the question may come, what is the difference between traditional CMSs versus headless CMS? It is important to understand the nuance before we actually dive into it. So in a traditional or a regular CMS, if you see, there are four components to the CMS, or logically, we can divide it into the four components. You have the view. Actually, let's go right from the bottom. We have our database. The database is where all the content is residing, right? This is where we store our data. Obviously, there can be files as well, but the basic crux is that our database holds the content. There is an API which kinds of communicate between the database and the CRUDs. Okay, then we actually have the CRUDs. So any CMS will give you the ability to create content, create different kinds of content types, and then when you create those content types, you will have the ability to add them, do a lot of things. A CMS has quite a few features which can be very easily used by site administrators and developers to create a working site, right? And then after the CRUDs, we have the final layer, which is the view of a CMS. So in the view part of the CMS, we have the logic of getting the data through the APIs. Okay, and then that view is responsible for rendering the data in the way we want. So in typical CMSs, you will create a theme, which is the view layer, and in the theme, you will decide how the content will come, how the content will look, things like that. Okay, so that's as far as our traditional CMS is composed of. Okay, the traditional CMS will have these four parts. But when we look at the headless CMS part, you can see that the view is missing. So if you go back to a slide, if you see, this robot doesn't have any head, right? So similarly, the idea is the headless CMS means there's no view to it. It can't see. Okay. But what it can do is the rest of the three things, which is obviously it has the DB, it has the API for the CRUDs to interact with the DB. But then beyond that, the headless CMS doesn't have the responsibility of the view part of it. So the theming, right, the front end is not the responsibility of the CMS. So now you may ask, why do we need a headless CMS? And yes, it is a very valid question. We need to understand why we are using a technology, because if we don't understand that, how will we be able to utilize it in the best possible way? So if we look today at our content, it's not limited to websites only. Our content is viewed on so many different devices which are of different form factors, size, and shape. These five different devices are just examples, like websites, mobiles, TV, tablets, kiosks, right? They are few examples of where our content is visible. And every medium has their own set of challenges. Now, CMSs like Drupal, WordPress, or even e commerce solutions like Magento allow you to create themes for websites, which can be mobile friendly as well. But we need content in much more places than that. Okay. And that is why headless CMS is now becoming very important. The idea of a headless CMS is that you create the content, you create the repository of content, and then you start publishing content in form of JSON objects. Now, the beauty of JSON objects is that once you are able to publish your content or expose your content as JSON data, then you have so many ways to consume that information, and that information can be consumed by so many different mediums. It can be, as we see, these 5 mediums or watches or whatnot. And that is why, with the increase in these digital mediums, it is very important that we look at headless CMSs so that we are able to get the advantage of a CMS which helps us to create content quickly, create content types quickly. With the API, it is able to interact with the database so quickly. And then it is also allowing us to use the modern technologies which are available to us. For example, you may choose to use React or Vue and those powerful tools like Next.js or Nuxt.js to create very sleek, modern websites, which even have like Next, for example, has a very SPA kind of a feeling with even server-side rendering. So all these powerful things you will get in your front end, which is still not a very popular thing with most of the CMSs that are there, right? So we are basically able to get the best of both the worlds when we are using headless CMS. So now that we have talked about so many good things about a headless CMS, it's time to actually look at which headless CMS we are going to use. And yes, we are going to use Strapi. It's an open source Node.js based headless CMS. It's 100% JavaScript based. Okay, and it's very easy to customize. That's what I have seen. Plus, there is a very beautiful community which is always ready to help you. I personally have got help from Strapi through Twitter, through Discord. And yes, it has a good plugin system. So certain things which we were evaluating while making the decision, for example, cloud-based storage engine, authentication mechanisms, whatnot. I mean, there are quite a few plugins which are very easily available for Strapi, and obviously then you have the entire Node ecosystem to work with. One more important aspect is that Strapi supports most of the popular databases. So I can see on the official website that they support MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB, and even SQLite. So many times when I'm doing some prototyping or things like that, SQLite can be your go-to database, for example. And then obviously a good thing is, as we talked about, Strapi supports REST API and GraphQL support. So you can have your application designed in a way that they can either rely on REST APIs or they can use GraphQL to query from the application itself. Strapi also has a good support for webhooks. Now I have read about it and I know that they say that the application is done in a way that almost in every part of your content process you can have webhooks and you can handle webhooks to attach certain kinds of behaviors. But personally I haven't used them yet, but that's what the documentation says. So I'm obviously believing that and saying that yes, it's quite extensible in that way. So without wasting much time, let's get started with Strapi and see how the installation process is. Now we are on the official website of Strapi. As you can see, I described quite a few things, that it is open source, it's headless, 100% JavaScript, blah, blah, blah. But now we are trying to see what do we need to work with Strapi. Let's click on get started and see what the documentation has to say. So prerequisite says that we need Node.js and NPM on our machine. It is also possible to use Yarn instead of NPM, and I have personally felt that Yarn is a little faster. So we will use Yarn. So I'm on this folder. I'll open up my terminal, okay, the CMD of Windows. I'm obviously on Windows, but you're free to use Linux or Mac, whichever is your thing. Obviously, it is not stopping you. We can run this command and we can quickly start. But there's one thing, the quick start kind of sets a lot of things up, and that is not what I want you to get started with, because I'm here teaching you how to, basically start with Strapi. So there are certain things which I would like you to know. Now, when you do quick start, what is going to happen is it is going to assume that you are using SQLite, and it will set things up accordingly. But we are going to use MySQL. I have Laragon on my machine, so I will start MySQL server, and we will use MySQL to handle the database part of it. Hence, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and I'm not going to send the flag quick start. So my project name is going to be FW website. That is the FocalWorks website, which I told you. Now, while this is happening, let's go to the website actually. All right. So this is our official website. And what I am planning to do is, this website currently is in Drupal, and I would like to create Strapi in a way so that we can convert this website into a, first of all, get the content into the headless CMS, and then use some front end tooling. Most probably it will be Next.js to create our front end website again, right? So this is the website. There is a hero banner with some text, the bylines, introduction to what we do. There's a clickable link which takes the user to our portfolio, and then there are a few testimonials. This is repeating content, so there are different clients which has spoken good about it, about our services. So that's the block. Then we have what we do. Okay, alternate design. So this is digital experiences, software engineering, startup technologies. So this is a kind of component which I can think of. Then there is a parallax effect, but again, I don't think this is a repeatable component because this is one-off. We will have a small block which has the ability to change the image, and then this link can be either hard-coded or whatever it is, because obviously it is not going to change. This is a portfolio. And then we have this block which is the technologies that we use, right? So once that is done, then we have the footer left. So we will first handle the homepage. Obviously, I'm not going to do the front end of it. The idea is to set Strapi as the headless CMS so that the content of this website, or this page rather, can be made available as JSON data. And then whenever the front end developer is working on the React side of it, he can do the components, the JavaScripts, and the CSS to handle the look and feel, right? And obviously, I'll do the rest of the pages as well, but I'll see how long it goes, because if I am able to generally cover most of the things by just demonstrating you the home page and our work, I think that should be good enough thing to make you understand how Strapi works and how we can use it for building such kind of products. Because the home page is somewhat a one-off kind of a page. It's typically that's going to be, because the homepage designs are not something which is repeating, right? And then we have our work page, which is going to be showcasing content which is repeatable in nature. Every content will have, like every website or every app that we are showcasing here will have some content which is repeatable in nature, but then they have their own individual pages, right? So yeah, once we go deep inside it, you will understand these nuances. Okay, so where are we with our installation? So yes, as you can see, it asks for the type of installation that we are looking for. We have a quick start, it says it is recommended, and there is manual settings. I'll go with the manual settings because then you will understand what kind of customization we are able to make. So it says, would you like to use a template? Again, I'll say no. We'll start from scratch. Although I would suggest that you explore the blog and other kind of templates because it's a good starting point. But then definitely in here, I want everything to be done in a way that I want. Okay, so MySQL is going to be my choice for database. Okay, let me see. MySQL is not available on my terminal. Is that the case? Okay, it works here. So no, it's not working. So maybe I'll create a database and then come back because my machine has a lot of client databases and I definitely don't want that to be visible. So I'll create the database and I'll come back. Okay, so I have a database created which is fw-website. So let's configure. Host is localhost, port is fine, username is root, I don't have a password, and enable SSL connection, no. Let's wait for it to configure things. All right, so Strapi is installed. You can see it took some time, but yeah, it's finally there. So done in 2029. Wow, that's a long time. So basically I had to stop the recording, and then when it was done, I came back. So what has happened? If I do ls, I can see that a folder has been created with the name of the project that I had mentioned, correct? Now it says available commands are yarn develop, yarn start, yarn build, yarn strapi, and all these can be done once I get into the folder. So why don't we go inside the folder first? Obviously that's the first thing that we need to do. Cd that, and I'll also show you what happened to the database. So far it just created the connection, it has done nothing else. Can I do code dot? Yes, I can. Let me zoom in a bit so that you are able to see things clearly. And you can see inside config we have database.js. That's way too zoomed out. I hope you are able to see. Okay. So yes, whatever the credentials were given by me, it is over here. Okay. So now what they are saying is once I go inside the folder, do yarn develop. So I'll go inside, I'll do yarn develop, and let's see. I think it's going to take some time again. So maybe I'll stop this video and then start. But in the meantime, let's see what are the folders that we have. We have public uploads. That's fine. So I think any image that we upload through the CMS goes over here, and it's git keep. I guess there will be git ignore as well somewhere. Packages. Now, I do have a habit of looking through these things before I get into the actual development. Okay, so .idea is already there, public uploads. So you can see what is going to happen is it is going to ignore everything which is inside this, but it is not going to ignore the git keep. That's fine. So public folder is sorted out. Extensions, I don't know. The folder name suggests that any extensions that we want to use, maybe that I'll have to put it here. And then API is blank for now. There are certain functions, cron.js, bootstrap. What does the bootstrap do? Nothing as of now. I think if we install any module or anything, it will be doing that. Okay, we have a 404 response. Everything is JavaScript. I wonder if we can do TypeScript for it, but at least for now everything is JavaScript. Yes. package.json, we did develop. So Strapi develop is the command which is being executed. What have we here? Webpack compiled. Okay. It's taking a good amount of time. I don't know why. It has a build folder. That's fine. API still doesn't have anything major. Okay. And it opened up localhost 1337 admin auth register admin. So I think this is coming up because this is the first time it is being loaded. So okay, reach me is fine. And then we'll do let's start. Don't want to save the password. And we are here. So our server is running. The application is here. And now if I go to the database, I can see quite a few things over here. We have core store. What is this? Strapi role user. So some of the basic information is being stored over here. I18 is language specific things. I'm not going to use that right now. Administrator. So we have the user which I just created is over here. Permissions. Okay, so we have quite a few things over here. And then Strapi role. So I guess with the community edition comes with 3 roles if I'm not wrong. And so these are there. User roles. So user 1 has role ID 1, which means super admin. That's fine. Pretty easy to understand. There's a webhooks table which is empty. Upload file is empty. Upload file mof, I don't know. And then there is user permissions and user permission rules and all those kind of things. All right. So I generally have a sense of the database, although I haven't gone into the details of it, but generally what makes sense is this is where the user is stored. The content types will be created. I guess those will come in as individual tables because that's how even Drupal works. So I'm assuming that is going to happen. Okay. And yeah, let's now look at what Strapi has to offer through their admin interface. So now let's look at the admin for Strapi. This is the admin interface where they have some basic information regarding how we can join the community. So as I told you, I have personally been in touch with them through Twitter and Discord. They are very good and quick on responses. So if you have any questions or need any help, go to their Discord server and I'm sure you will get help there. Okay. Now in Strapi or generally in any CMS, the content is created using content type. So as you can see, they are saying create a first content type. We already have a collection type called users. Okay. And we can create more. But before we go into the content types, let's see what else do we have in here. So apart from the content types builder, we have media library. It allows us to upload images and stuff, which can be then used through all the content which is being uploaded through the CMS. I'll go into my pictures folder and let's just say I'll upload this one. Okay, so it's here and then we can subsequently use it. So let me see if add user has any image field. It doesn't, so fine. Once we look into the content type builders, we will see that. We have marketplace where all these plugins are available. Now we can download them and then install them. Quite a few are already installed. Okay, so these are the plugins which got installed. We can see it. And then we have settings. So in the settings, let's go to the application first. It is giving us some basic information. For example, Strapi version that we are using is 3.6.8. node version which I'm running is 14.15.3 internationalization. So we have English as a language. We can add more if we want to. It supports quite a few. The drop down is quite big. It's fine. I'm going to stick with English as of now. Media library, it has few settings. For example, enable responsive friendly upload. So as you can see, it automatically generates multiple formats, large, medium, small. Okay, and it is turned on, which is good. Enable size optimization without quality loss. It's on. Enable auto rotation. Let's keep it on. Hit save. Okay. They said webhooks are available. So yes, we can configure our own webhooks. Obviously, we are not going to do it now because what we intend to do right now is just create the structure for our website. So no webhooks for that as of now. Okay. Roles. The community edition has only 3 roles. So if you try to add a new role, you will not be able to do that, but that's fine. It has author, editor, and super admin. We have admin users. So mine is here. Okay, I just went ahead and added my username because that was not captured initially. I can assign roles to myself or I can create new users. So there are 2. Now, user permission plugin allows us to get 2 roles which are primarily for the API kind of requirements. Okay, some APIs, if they are authenticated, you can add that. If everything is public, you can add that as well. Providers, I haven't gone into details, but what I understand is these are authentication mechanisms which are available. But again, I need to see every bit of it. For example, you can see email provider is enabled, but if I want to do, let's say Facebook, so yes, it is telling me to add the client ID, client secret. So maybe what will happen is I'll be able to log in using these providers. So that's fine. I mean, those plugins are there. It will save us a lot of time, but right now we are not looking for that. Email templates, we have 2 email templates, reset password and email address confirmation. They have variable support as well. So you can see the token is coming up, all those kinds of stuff. Advanced settings says default role for authenticated users is going to be authenticated. That's fine. 1 account per email ID is on. Enable signups. Let me turn that off. I don't want any user to sign up, sorry. And yeah, if we want the users to confirm their email, if this is turned on, then yes, you can do that. And then we have email settings. Configurations will be inside this JS file. So it will pick it up from there and then we can test this. But yeah, the configuration should go inside our code base, config, plugin or plugins.js. So yes, we'll have to look at the documentation to see how this can be configured. And then the last one being content type builder. So in Strapi, I know there are 2 types of content types. One is a single type content. So things like homepage or maybe any content which is one off, like you use the single type content. Whereas if you have something which is repeatable, for example, the testimonial which I showed you on the website, this, correct? So this is a collection type because we will have multiple testimonials on the website. Even if we go to our work page, that will have a collection type as well. So what we are seeing is there is new collection type, which means whatever we feel are repeating should go inside the collection type. And if we feel there are certain things which are one-off cases, then we can obviously use the single type content. And obviously the last but the most important thing is create a new component. So what happens is in Strapi, all these content types are using fields or they are using the collection types. Okay, and those collections are something which we can convert in either they are using fields or they are using components. So fields would mean that if I have a title field in, let's start creating. So let's create a new collection type. Let's just say our work. And we have these many options in terms of fields that we can attach to our content. Let's just say first one is name. It's a short text, and let's do finish. Hit save. Now, interesting thing is waiting for restart. Okay, the server got restarted, and what has happened is if I click over here, you can see our work. This folder got created. It has a config, it has controllers, models, services. So behind the scenes, Strapi is doing quite a few things for us. Okay, if we want to extend, do certain kinds of things with our content type, we are able to. There are routes defined and quite a few things. So yes, you can go through each, because in behind the scenes, Strapi is doing all these things for us. As you can see in here on the left hand side, now we have our works. Add, and we can see the title field. Okay, but then the problem is this field will mean it is, if you need a content, one more content type with name, you'll have to add that field. But obviously that's ideally not a very good thing to use as a component. But instead, let's just say you have a component called SEO metadata. Okay, because every content will somehow need that component. So what you can do is create that component. So let me go ahead and create a new component. Configurations, name will be, let's just say, SEO. Just simply say SEO. Category global. Create global. Okay. And let's continue. So for SEO, we need a title. So we'll do title, short text, add another field, rich text editor, description, add another field. Let's just say this is what? We have title, metadata, author. Okay. With these three, let's just save. So it will again restart the server. And this means there are certain files which must have got created. So let's try and refresh and see what we have. Our work is here. We have a components folder, and in that we have seo.json. Pretty cool, right? So it has all the attributes which we had added. Correct. Let's see what the database has to say. So we had what, 12 tables. Now we have 14. That's nice. Components, global, SEOs. Okay. It has these three columns in here. Okay. And where is the content type? Our works. Okay. Our works is a table, and all the fields here are created. It only has the name. So obviously you can see it's not very scalable. So we'll need more details to it. But yes, we can generally get a sense of what the database is looking like. Correct? Okay. Let's go back to our work. Right. So we have title, which is fine. Everything is custom. So I'm sure this is not the title, it's the logo. So we have featured image, we have the logo of the client, a byline required as well. So let's try to mock that scenario quickly. Okay. But yeah, before that, so what we were doing was we were looking at the component, right? So I have created a component called SEO. Now we have our work, which only has a field called name, but I want that the SEO component should be visible, should be there when any content creator is creating a new work, because it should have that SEO metadata. But then when we create pages, we will need them as well. So that's why we created it as a component, and I'll do add a new field which is of type component, and in here use an existing, select the component, and this is a single component. So we can have a component inside the content type which can repeat itself. Okay, but the SEO metadata is a one time only information. I don't want to have multiple, so I selected single component, and if I do SEO finish, save, it will restart, and now we have this. So if I now try to add a work, you can see I get that field over here, right? What happened to the database? So let's go over here. SEO has no change obviously, but our works, it has now 15 tables. So I think our works components is the new table, because our works is using different type of components, and in here we have component type, component ID, and our work ID. So basically it's a relationship table. It is also storing the order and the field name. So when I try to create that, we will see that this information is here. So let me try to create one work. Okay. Okay, something like that. Author, whoever it is, and let's save. Get back to the database. Right. So field is SEO, order is one. This is the component type, component ID, and our work ID. Now let's go back to the table. This is the data that we have. And obviously, when I go to the content, we can see that information is getting captured. So in a way, it's quite nice. Um, we have some ways to kind of customize the fields as well. For example, this is a text field. I can have the author name over here, actually on the this side maybe. Okay, and save. Right, it will modify all the settings. That's fine. I did that. So this is fine. What else? I think that's about it. So you can see the now that the component has been modified a bit. So yes, that's how the configure the view works, and it allows you to change a little bit of the field sequencing and stuff. Okay, and you can use this to add more. But now we haven't done the entire thing. So we were able to add a title. If you see the website, why don't I log into Brave, because then it will be easier for me. All right, let me get rid of this. Our works. That's fine. What else do we need? We need a featured image. So let's add a field. We go to content type, our work, add another field. This time we add a media field. Let's say it's a single field, featured image. The value doesn't match the regex. Okay, why is that? Can I do this? Okay, it doesn't allow that as well. So featured image, will this work? Looks very strange. Thumbnail, maybe not the best name, but fine at least. So thumbnail is here. That's good. I need the logo. So one more field. By the way, if you want any particular thing to be mandatory, you can come over here and do required field. I want only images over here, so we can exclude them as well. I should actually do this for all these. Okay. right? So thumbnail, logo, these two are added. A byline is required, so let me add that. Actually, the byline will not be so big. Maybe um, a text field. 255 character is good enough, I think. Okay, fair enough. A banner image is required, or let's just call it the hero image. Let's say it is multiple, because if there are more than one image that the content editor uploads, then we will, let's say, convert it into a slider. So we can do that. But then I'm thinking about it. There is this is where things can become a bit subjective. This banner, let me see. Our story has a banner, but then these are really not a component. I mean, there's one way to say that yes, this is a banner component, and you upload multiple images to it. So I can actually not create it as a media field, but rather as a component. But then, no, when I'm creating this page, I think I will have a banner field, because let's make it as a component. Let's make it as a component. I think that will be better, because I can see multiple places where the component will be used. So let's keep it like that. Okay, I'll create a new component called banner. Yeah, banner goes into the global section. Any icon is fine, actually. What do we have in advanced settings? Collection name, that's not required. So I'll have text, a short text if the banner has some title to it. Let's just say we have a byline as well in case we need it. And then we have obviously media, images, multiple. It's a required field, and we are expecting images and videos only. Hit save. Go back to our work. Now we want to add the component banner. Hit save. So now, as you can see, what I have done is I'm saying that the banner component will be only once, but inside the component, what we have done is it can have multiple images. So you can't have multiple sliders, so as to say, because I will kind of hard code the placement of that slider over here, and when I'm going here, it will be somewhere here, right? So the component is only once, but then inside the component, the images can be multiple. That's how we have provisioned it. What do we call it here? Banner. Hit save. Keep saving your work. All right. So we have taken care of this. This is obviously all the, it's a screenshot, I would say. So it's a screenshot field with the text. So let us do that. Okay. Description. I'm expecting this to be very standard, text. So nothing much over here. Let's say they will apply H2, H3, something like that, and these are bullet lists. So we don't want to have very detailed component for them. It's straightforward. And then we have a gallery, right? So gallery, again, I think we should create a component. So we'll create a component called gallery. The gallery is only available inside our work. So let's do that. It will be easy for us to find out things. Okay, it will not. Okay, our work. Does this work for you? It should. Wow. Our work, create, continue. Fine. So in this, we only will have images or videos. Save. Go back to work. Add a new component. Gallery. It's a single. And we are done. So let's save it. And now let's go to the edit of the content and try to fill things up. First one is thumbnail. Oh no, not that. Open new image in tab. Yes. So thumbnail is saved. I hope the logo is also right. It is here. So let me select the thumbnail. Upload to assets. Selected. I want to select this. So this is thumbnail. This is the logo. Byline. Okay, it's not selectable. Let me try to get the text from here somewhere, just so that we have things in properly. And then I'll click over here. I don't know if, okay, this image, I'll need to see how this image is coming. Right. So as you can see, okay, hero min. So banner is title, byline. For now I only have where's the image? Oh yes, upload, finish. So I think it is going to take a little bit of time. Let me quickly do that and come back. But yes, now the thing is, let's just assume that the content creator went ahead and added one work, which is LaSalle. Now how do we see this? Let's go to settings and users, no, authenticated public. So I think inside public, our work, let's do this. Actually we don't need delete and update. So now let's save. And so we have this. Let's look at the route. So config routes, our works should be like this, right? And this gives me the individual one. Do I have any extension for JSON? Yes. Okay, I think the problem is it doesn't work in private mode. Can I configure it to do that? Okay, let me open it up here. All right. Yeah. So we can see now our entire data is one big JSON. Let's try and understand what is happening. So we have name, LaSalle, the name of the project, right? The byline, description, we haven't added yet. We have this SEO component, which we created, and that JSON is coming over here. So the meta title, the meta description, and then the author, we can pick it from here. And when we are going to do the Next.js app, what I will tell the developer is that whatever is the SEO metadata required, you just need to pass this SEO object, and we are done. Then we have the banner. The banner, if you see, has an image object, and this image object has some bit of information. So it has formats in which it has a thumbnail, it has a large image, and it has a medium image and small image. So this is because if you remember in the configuration, we had said that we want responsive images, and that's why it is picking up things like this. These are images with different height width, which are available for us to show on different devices. Okay. So yes, we have the images. This is because we can have multiple images in the slider banner rather, right? So it's an array of objects. I could have configured two. Gallery, we have none as of now. Thumbnail, I have created that image, so that thumbnail, again, you can see, is available to us. Okay. And we have logo. So let me quickly create the content, and then I'll come back. All right, so I have created the content. This is what finally came up. I added the description, uploaded 5 images, and then if we refresh the JSON, right? Let me first kind of, yeah. First level, we have closed them. So screenshots, gallery, we have images. Images, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each image data is visible along with the formats. So yes, that's what we wanted to do with the our work content type. We have a page where we will be able to list our works. This page will be created where we'll make an API call to get all the works which we have, and then clicking on an individual will request the server to get one individual work, and that is this kind of a JSON structure, and then the page should be able to render the information based on the, I would say, content which we are providing. Now one thing which we still need to understand is, see, our JSON right now is working with ID, but then this is not the best way to get the data, because if you see currently the URL is where the project name is being available. So how do we do that? Let me go back to content builder. This is our works content type. Let me add one more field which is of type UUID. Attached field is, let's just say, name. We'll call it slug. Advanced setting. Default value is none, so let's just finish that. Can I configure the view? Cancel. Let me save it first. Right, configure the view. What I want is this to be somewhere here. Yes, modify. Head back, come over here. So yes, this is available. Let me hit save, go back to the JSON, and we have slug which has LaSalle. That's fine. The first step is done, but then let me see if I am able to get that. No, it is not working. The reason is the routes here doesn't work in that way. So then the question is, how do we do that? Let me look for it, because even I have not done it. So Strapi get content by slug. Okay. So add new article, configure layout, all those things are done. Auto create update the slug attribute. This is fine. Fetch article by slug. Okay. Get articles question mark slug equals this. All right. So what basically they are trying to say is our work question mark slug equals LaSalle. So I figured out what the problem was, and I think one thing which I need to keep in mind is that the changes which I'm making or the field names should ideally be lowercase, because what happened? This is not working. Okay. It broke for some reason, so I have to clean up some code. I was trying a few things out, but then the basic idea is that if we have a field, we have the ability to get the content by that particular field. Okay, let me see if it has started. It has. So refresh. This is what we were trying to do, right? Which is our works slash LaSalle, and here we were expecting the thing, but what actually should happen is slug equals this. And let me actually look at that over here. So as you see, the S was small and hence it was failing. If I do it a capital letter, it gives me the data. And I think this is fine, because when I'm looking at this solution from a Next.js application point of view, what is going to happen? I have our work, which is this listing. Okay, I'll be fetching information through an API, which is our works API, and we will get each of these. And in that, okay, I'll have to go over here. I will have the slug field. So I will then do a server side XUS call when the user comes to this page. So let's say when I'm on this page, the API call will be slash our works, and that will give me this JSON, and this page in next will be created. When a user clicks on one particular project, we will take the user to that particular route React component, and on the server side hook, what we are going to do is call this URL, and we will get this slug, obviously, because that JSON data is available to us. And that is how we are going to be able to get the information of one work through the URL or the slug. And this is very important. Just to quickly recap, what we did was we added this new field inside our content builder called slug. Okay, this slug is a UID kind of a field. It auto generates, and now if we go to the work section, you can see it generates a URL for that based on the title. We had created that setting that it should pick up the text which is getting generated from the title. I could have taken something else as well. Even this SEO title can work for us. But yes, we had this, and then finally that information is getting converted into a JSON field, and that field we can use to pull data from our headless CMS. So now let's look at few small configuration related things in the admin section, which I feel is quite interesting and important, because from time to time the client may come up with these kind of requirements. So as you can see, the first thing, the problem here is that the content is being, I would say, sorted based on the name. But that is something which may not be the best way to look at things. There is a search, so I can do MSIG and then this is coming up, and then I can even do Lasal, and these things are coming up. But then when you have a lot of content, like my blog post has around 100, I don't want my blog posts to be sorted alphabetically. I should see the recent one on top. So let's see how we can do that. Inside configure the view, we have enable search, which is fine, enable filters, bulk actions. Let's increase the number to 20. That's one change. But then this is the most important thing. Default sort attribute. I will say this is ID, descending, and I even went ahead and configured to show the logo, as well as we can show some other fields like the slug, okay, after the name, so that the view can be a little different for the admin. So like now if I go, you can see the latest one, which is 2, is on top. I can see the logo here, I can see the slug, and this is a nice way to configure things. And obviously now the default entries per page is 20. So when I have more than 20 articles or our works, then we will have a pagination. So these are small tweaks which can come in handy. Okay, these are filters. So on a byline, let's just say name is, and then if I do M, how do I apply? Name is, okay, name is can be contains. Now if I apply, all right, yes. So that's how things work. Yeah, I can reset it. So now we will look at how we can create this home page in Strapi. Now, the home page is a one-off content, I would say, which means when we are looking at the content types, we are looking at a single type content, because the home page is not going to repeat. And that's why I divided the entire homepage into these 9 slides, how I could feel that these can be converted into components. So let's see. First is the navigation block. I'll set it up for all tabs so that it is easy to move around. But yes, so what I'm saying is the first thing is obviously this navigation block, which is fine. The logo will be directly in the front end code base. Menu items will be repeatable content. Okay, so we have the requirement to do a menu item as a new collection type. So let's quickly set that up. We need 3 fields. Do we have an enumeration? Yes, we do. So target underscore self underscore blank, something like this. Save. Let's quickly create. Wow. Oh, have I did that? So what happened? It should come up here, right? We have 1, 2, home, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Fine. What we do? Okay. It will be a hash link, obviously. Our story. Okay, so we have what? 6 things in place. Again, if you want, this is something which you may say that these are fixed finite number of things, so it makes sense to have the order as name ascending. Okay, but again, up to you. You may choose to show something else as well. Okay, Now let's go back to our slide. This is intro banner. Background image will be uploaded as PNG, text field in CMS with byline, right? Although we have a single slide, it will be right. So this is, I think, slider which I was thinking about. So let me see what all contents we have, or rather components we have. We have gallery, but we don't have, we have a banner, title, byline, and then images, right? So we can use that. So let's start setting up things. So we'll create a new type called homepage. Collection name, I don't want anything. Okay. The first thing will be title. Let's have a UUID for it. Okay, and then anything else? We need the SEO component. So attach that. And then let's do finish. Now, how do we create that content? So as you can see, when you click on it directly, it shows you all the fields. Okay. Now in here, I'll have home page, or let's just see what home focal works, right? So maybe I'll do home focal works. Need to put something a little more in terms of SEO, so that's something we will do later. But for now, that's about it. We'll keep it home. Later we'll change the author. Okay, so the basic stuff is done. Now let's come to this particular section. We were saying this will be gallery. We have a content type for this, not gallery, but rather banner. So let's go back to content, the home page. In here, I'll add a field called component hero banner. Okay, and we will select an existing one. Sorry, it will be a single component, and do finish, save. Go back over here. I have the hero banner. So what do we have in here? We build high quality web and mobile solutions. So let's add that. I think this should be handled through CSS. I don't need to add the BRs because on mobile then it will look bad. So let's keep it that way. And this entire image, actually, let me see, should be a background image of sort. I'm not able to find it. Let's see inside the network tab. If I hit refresh, I should be able to get preview. Come on. It's a big image. So, oh yes, here it is. So let me save this image inside Strapi. The idea is that the background image will be, the background color is part of the CSS, and this image will be used. So that we are taking from the CMS. Okay. All right. Next up, let's see. So this is done, right? The title, the byline, and the image. Our specialty. One component with two text editors. The blue text should be handled as italics, bold, or something within the text editor. So my understanding is that this will be some kind of a heading, and the blue is something which we can through CSS use by having an EM or underline, something like that. Okay, and this one is obviously a text editor. And then there is one thing This portfolio link will be hard coded inside the component. I don't see any reason for this to be any way dynamic. So yeah, that is not part of the component. So let's come over here, content builder, add one more field, component, create a new component which is of type our specialty, maybe. Yeah, we can do that. I need to see what's the best um, naming convention, because otherwise it will become difficult after some time. I could actually do everything like this. Yeah, I'll need to see what is the best way. I think because these are JSONs, right? This makes sense. Okay, but yeah, I have done it right now, so to keep things consistent, I will do it this way. Maybe see if later on we can change, rename everything, and then I will do that. Okay, so I'm creating a new component. Add first field to the component. What all fields do we need? We need two text fields actually. So one rich text editor, left side text. Okay, I don't think this will work, right? Left side, something like this. Right side text. I couldn't come up with any other name for this, so I think this is fine. Okay, so yeah, our specialty is done. We need to populate the content, obviously, so let me do that in here. Oh, okay, right, it should be like this, because obviously we won't be doing a line by line thing, otherwise on mobile it may screw things up. Early startups, italics, large multinationals, italics. Then we have this. Think this is not going to come well, right? Yeah, this is fine. So let's save it. Our portfolio will be hard coded. Let's see how I'm trying to finish things off. This is testimonial. So testimonials title will be coming as a component called section. So the section will have title description. So what I can see is, now I'll show you the reason I'm saying this is a section. See, how I envisage this is a title, and then this is the testimonial component. Okay, this title is on top, so I can make this a little generic in nature. We have this, which is again a title, and then this is again a title with a byline. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in here create this component called section. So new component, section of type global. It has text, it has actually byline, and I have to finish, save, go to homepage, component, existing, section, single, and this is what section? This is testimonial. So I'll do testimonial section, finish, and in here we will just have the title. So let me save. Let's open up the content in a different browser tab. I hope this is not logged out. No. Okay. I guess it is asking for the password again because I'm in incognito mode, so the token may not have been transferred to that new tab. I don't know. Right. We have done so much to the content. Why don't we also look at how this is visible? Let me see. Roles, public application, homepage, find at slash homepage. That's fine. Let's look at the homepage over here. It says not found, which is a bit odd. I have saved it. So the role is set to public. Content manager. No, this is not it. Homepage find seems to be correct, but somehow it's not translating it to the API. Let's see what routes we have. So our work is here, homepage config routes.json. It has slash homepage. And what's the problem? Do I need to restart or something? It even says it is a get URL to slash homepage. I'm not making a spelling mistake, am I? No. Is this published? Let's see. Maybe I missed that. Oh yes, it's not published. That's why it was giving errors, right? Sorry about that. So we have the SEO block, which gives us the title, description, and author. We have our hero banner, which is basically this, correct? Then we have our specialty block. Okay, these two text should be coming over here with the star marks, which is basically I need to do a markdown parse. Right side block, new lines. So this is also done. And then we have the testimonial. Now, the only thing which I think no, we need to quickly do is get the testimonial content type, which is again a repeatable content type, and get that information in place. But now I am slowly starting to understand that one thing which we should be doing is naming our fields with underscores. So as you can see, if everything was underscores, it would have been quite consistent. Okay, now my fields are a little difficult to, in terms of, I would say, the consistency part of it, because the ID, published at, created at are all small case underscores, while my fields are our specialty, which is in a different thing. Now let me see if I can rename them. Okay, I told you that I would like to do that, and these things are very important, because if the conventions are not correct, it can create a lot of problem while the development is happening. So let me see, slug. Eventually I will change everything. Yes. Okay, but yeah, I think it makes sense to do this. Okay, I'll have to rename the components as well, but first let me see if the basic JSON is getting changed. Okay, it stopped because it couldn't rename the field. Okay, fine. I hope I haven't screwed up everything with the database. Oh yes. Ta -ta -ta -ta. Let me see now, what have I done? So I was going into the home page, and homepage SEO. How have I set it up for our work? Models. SEO is in capital, right? Okay, let me see if I can get it back to work as we expected, or else we are in a problem. Okay, it still doesn't work. Duplicate column name slug. Let's see what is happening in the database. Home, our specialty, homepage, home pages, homepage. Okay, the table name is home pages, which is a little weird. Shouldn't have done that, but fine. Homepage components, SEO, home banner. Okay, everything is fine over here. SEO name, we have slug. Okay, it's trying to make some change and then it is failing, and I need to see what is that. So one thing I can definitely understand is we'll have to be a little careful with our naming conventions, because we may have a situation where these kind of renaming can create a problem. So our work is fine. Home banners, these three are null. Why? Okay, that's fine. Banner. So what is it trying to rename? Duplicate column slug. Duplicate column name slug. Where is it finding that slug? It's not here. Homepage has slug. It's taking time. Okay. Somehow I was able to get it to running. So right, we will not play around with it. We'll not rename things. Let it be there. Okay, we will see how we can do that later. Otherwise, the video will become very long. But yeah. So let's look at, as I was saying, right? Let's look at the testimonial section, because we have done everything here and the testimonial is pending. So inside our content builder, testimonial should be one more collection type, testimonials, because this is, or no, testimonial, that's fine. And how have I envisaged my testimonial content? Testimonial content will be a repeatable component. Okay, I'm saying it's a repeatable component. Why would I have done that? It's actually a content and it's only on the home page, not specific to a project. So let's not make it a component, let's make it a content type. I think content type makes more sense. We have pick, name, byline, testimonial. So we'll have a picture. Oops, no. Add field, media, pick, single, name, byline, testimonial. Save. I understand why I would have done that. Because if I create a content type, how do I add it to a page? I won't be able to, right? I don't think so. Let me see. So there's one more item which is available to us, which is dynamic zone. Can I add components? I can't do that. Right. Maybe, I think that's the reason I didn't say it was a content type. So let me first see how I can delete it. Right. Okay. I hope this doesn't break Strapi. No, it doesn't. Fair enough. So the renaming is a problem. Right. So now what is happening is the the content type or this collection type, if I make it, here, I'm not able to bring it into a particular page. Okay, then I'll have to add logic to it. And then the beauty of playing with the sequence or things like that becomes a bit difficult, right? I'll have to add a sorting order, do something of that sort, which is not the best thing to do. So what I can do instead is create a component. So let's say we create testimonial as a component. It goes into home section. Again, it has media, pick, single, text, name, byline, and then we had, I don't remember, pick, name, byline, testimonial. Obviously the testimonial itself. Let's save some typing. Okay, save. And now let's go back to home page, and I'm configuring a component over here. Use an existing one, which is testimonial, repeatable component. Hit save. I can say client testimonials, finish, save. Now this is going to be a little difficult because I know these images are not going to come easily. When the developer was doing it, he kind of created a hidden way to get that. Open tab. Fine, this is done. This text is not selectable because of the slider. So let me open up home page, add assets. This is the one. Upload, finish. No. Okay. Designation is here. Okay, there's a break. I don't think I'll copy that. Founder exam design, like so. And this is going to be tricky because I think this is in multiple paragraphs. Yes. So for now we just, okay, one more mistake which I made was this had to be a text area, but I made it as a text field. So that will be a problem. Let me see if I can change that at least. Testimonial text, long text, finish, save. Server is restarting, didn't break anything. Lucky we. And yeah, so now I can add more to it. Obviously this is going to be a pain, so I'm not going to do the entire thing in here, but you can understand. So once you have the content from your team, you will not face this kind of a problem. So let me just add one more so that we understand how things are coming. Designation, content, p tag, this was a small one. So interesting. Why is the full stop coming in the next one? Very strange. Okay, so they have a strong and the full stop is outside the strong, and that's why I missed that. Okay, my bad. Come over here. Text area, it didn't give me a text editor, rich text editor. Let's see why was that. I need that rich text editor. So maybe edit testimonial. That's a bit weird. Home page. Okay, still shows the rich, doesn't show the rich text editor, but yeah, let's see. I'll have to figure it out. But now you can see the components Here I have the ability to switch the sequence or remove an individual one, something like that, which wouldn't have been possible with a content type, and hence I decided that I'll do a component instead of a content type. Okay, so let's go back to a JSON. What do we have? Client testimonials. We have two exactly. This is what we wanted. The picture is here as well. So yes, you can see this is how we are able to configure Strapi to create some repeatable kind of content. For example, our works, right? We even created the menu because I will be calling the menu when we'll be building the front end. But then our works is a classic example where we use the slug. We created some basic content types and fields to get things in place. And then some of the one-off cases, for example, the home page was created in this particular fashion. The last thing that I want to show you is dynamic zones. This is a very important thing and quite interesting as well. So I'll show you. Let's go to Content Builder. In here, right now, our sequencing of things is quite, I would say, static in nature. For example, the hero banner is coming over here. Our specialty is here. Testimonial section. There's a little room to change things. Okay, but what if, I mean, again, it's a vague example, but for some reason, if I want to add one more block of specialty, I'll have to go over here, add the component, home, existing one, right? Specialty, where is it? Our specialty, and click finish. But it's a little weird, right? One more way to do it is, I'll show you, create a dynamic zone. Dynamically pick content when editing. Okay, so sections, dynamic sections, something like this. Okay, and then we define which components we want over here. So obviously we want section, we want our specialty, testimonial. 3 components have been selected. What else have we done? Let's see. Hero banner, our specialty, testimonial, and client testimonials. Hero banner is actually a section, if I'm not wrong. No, our specialty. Select a component. No. What am I doing? Let's see. Our specialty is a custom component, so we have done that. Okay, hero banner is of type, if I'm not wrong, banner, right? Because we don't have a hero banner component on the home page. We named it hero banner, so we need banner as a component as well. Okay, and now right, this is fine. Client testimonials is a component, a repeatable component. Why is it not showing? Testimonial, okay, testimonial is already here. So this is covered. Testimonial section, title and byline, which is section. So this is covered. Our specialty is covered. And hero banner, which is banner, is covered as well. So now let's hit save. I know it might seem a little confusing, but please bear with me and I will explain you exactly what I mean. Okay. So now you can see we have add 2 dynamic sections, and in here it is asking me which one I want. Okay. So let's just say after SEO we have the hero banner. So let's go back to global and select banner and copy this content. over here and select this image, save, and from here we remove this. Okay, we can even remove it from here. Okay, again, let me do one more section so that you understand why I did that. Go back to home page, our specialty, we will copy this content, add one more dynamic zone, add this and this, hit save, go to content builder again, remove this component from that particular part, hit save, and come back. Right, so now as you can see, the content is exactly the same, but then why did we do a dynamic zone? The reason is, if there is a feeling that you feel that for some reason you want the ability for the content or the client to sequence things in a different way, and for some reason, if for some weird reason he said you need the ability for this section to come on top and this becomes a second, which means your position is dynamic in nature, this is one place where this particular way of doing things can be easy. So now if we go to the JSON data, it would have changed a bit. Let's see. So we have the basic stuff, then we have SEO, testimonial section, we haven't changed that, and then we have these two testimonials, and then we have dynamic sections, and inside dynamic sections we have the global banner data and the our specialty data. Okay, with this, if you want, what you can do is come over here, I can bring it on top. So suddenly our specialty is the first block and the banner is the second, and accordingly you can see inside the dynamic section our specialty become the first block and the global banner became the second. Again, I am telling you, this is purely up to you. Do you want to give that flexibility? If your answer is yes, then you should do that. I find that dynamic zones is in a way a little easier to manage because content editor has the ability to select which one he wants to add, and then that particular content will be added by him. But then there is no harm in the initial approach that we took where everything was component. So it's your decision, but in the end what we get is a JSON data which looks like this. So it is quite possible that you may even say that the first block on the page is actually global banner and not our specialty. So that's it, guys. That's what I wanted to cover in terms of Strapi. I have tried to cover the concepts of what is headless CMS. Then we went into why we need headless CMS. We saw how we can install Strapi. We installed it on in our machine where Node is there. We use the database, and then we started creating components and content types which are very specific to the requirements which we had for our website, for my company's website, where we handled a situation where we have repeatable component, which means this our work where we are showcasing the case study of each project that we have done, and then we are also targeting a one-off type page, which is this home page, which means this design is not going to be repeating on any other page. So both those are handled with this collections and collection types and single types. We also saw what are components and how they can be used. So yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.